What's up, homie?
Hey, how you doing?
It's good to see you. Where are you?
Yes, I'm in South Jersey, South New Jersey, Sewell, New Jersey.
You're in Sewell, New Jersey. Oh, it's been a minute. What
Yeah.
do you know I just looked at the recording that you and I did a while ago and it was 2023.
Wow.
It's
It's
been
like, oh my gosh, almost 3 years.
it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I
Wow.
can't wait to talk about that, but I'm glad. Thank you for coming.
No problem.
I appreciate it. Let,
Yeah,
let
thank
me
you.
tell you the premise of I don't know if you've been following the Try Life on stuff that I've been doing, but um I started a community a long time ago. A long time ago. It's been well, maybe 5 years now.
Yeah.
Because for all the things that you've known about me in the background,
Yeah.
a lot of people wanted to quote unquote try life on their way,
Hmm.
leave corporate, become a filmmaker, become a police officer on the side, start a business, whatever. And people just
Right.
kind of get backed up based on societal definitions of what they are supposed to be. And I started coaching people on how to kind of break those bonds, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you know this stuff pretty well. And what I started to realize there's so many stories of people who have just gone after life in their own way.
Hmm.
And when you and I were talking and reconnecting a little bit, I was like, "Oh my God, Nicole has been doing shit her way for a very, very long time, and what an awesome story that would be."
Yeah. Yeah. No, completely. I mean, I guess my just because I vacillate, I'm like, okay, we need to do this. And then, okay, I need to go make money. Okay, I
Yeah,
need to do that. So, I
very
mean,
true.
but yeah, it is. I was listening a little bit to one of your podcasts about, subconscious and the language that we use just really, that dictates, our life inside and
It
out.
does.
It really does. And I have not perfected that yet. So
I don't think any of us will ever totally affect it. But what I were you listening to the one with Eddie Aziz, with Edgar Aziz, maybe?
think it was. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, a guy from Lebanon, but he's a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. But
Right.
he's one of the people who helped me understand that whether it's our outer voice or our inner voice, what we say dictates a lot of our thought process, and our thought process dictates how we operate in life. So
Right.
instead of saying, I feel like crap today, you should say, man, I'm not feeling the best, but thank God I'm getting better. And it
Right.
just changes how you approach everything. So language plays a major role, a major role. So, but I
Mhm.
want people to hear your story. So let me start with I wrote this intro about you. I was trying to encapsulate your career and life based
Okay.
on what I know,
It's like
and then we'll
wonderful.
go from there. But there's no way to encapsulate everything you've done. I've just kind of gained even more respect from you than I had before.
No.
So, for the folks
Okay.
who are listening, today I'm sitting with Nicole Amelio Casper, who's an award winning documentarian and human storyteller. That's what's really jumped out to me that you are a human storyteller, the way you go after your work.
Yeah.
Nicole is a native New Yorker who spent more than 2 decades living and working across the US and Europe as part of a military family. So I clearly have a soft spot for that. She began her career in radio and television, working with organizations like NPR, American Armed Forces Network,
Hmm.
ABC News, and others before stepping fully into documentary filmmaking. Her projects have been official selections across multiple film festivals in different categories, earning awards and nominations for impact driven storytelling. She's the filmmaker behind Voices of Hope, projects like Voices of Hope, The Journey Back to Normal, Hidden Wounds, and I am honored to be a part of her current project, Resilience. On her website, you can track it down, but you, Nicole, open up with this line. You say, "Welcome to Amelio Media. We can amplify your mission, capturing your stories on film," which I love that statement. So you can find Nicole's work at AmelioMedia.com, which I'll put in the show notes. But what I really want to explore today isn't just filmmaking. It's not necessarily about that. It's this. It's how do you build a life around what matters to you while still living in a world that pushes towards something more standard, which I believe that you have done. And you and you were just talking about that. Sometimes you follow your passion, but sometimes you have to deal with the real world stuff. I got to go make money in a different way as well. Like how do you follow your purpose, but then how do you pay the bills, stay true to yourself at the same time? And that's where we're going to get into today.
Okay.
So I will start with, tell me what you mean when you say we can amplify your mission, capturing your stories on film. What does that actually mean to you personally?
Mhm. Well, when I wrote that several years ago,
Mm,
mostly we were connecting with nonprofit
mm,
organizations specifically focused on military veterans, even active duty as well, and families. And through my film work, it was very interesting. I actually connected through my film work, and
yeah.
they hired us to produce their marketing films. And that helped them grow in a significant way,
Mm,
definitely. So, organizations like POVAT, Project One Vet at a Time, Project Refit, who are also in resilience as well, eventually.
mm,
but,
mm, mm.
and then others as well. I mean, we, it was just one of our passions and really a purpose, my way,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, yeah.
giving back to the country because I completely always wanted to join the military, but had to raise some kids. So I was like, this is my way. Had to. I loved it. I didn't want to leave them. And it's really my way of serving, just telling these stories and helping nonprofits grow and, cast that wider web to help as many people as possible and as
Yeah.
many families as possible, because that is huge. Families People just don't realize what families go through and they need the support too.
And the stories need to be told, and you're telling a lot of stories. But before filmmaker, so I want to talk about your origin and identity a little bit. Before filmmaker, before all the stuff you're doing now, the film festivals and all that, who were you just as a person? I know you were doing you were traveling around in a military family, but just the person that is Nicole.
Hmm, hmm. Well, first and foremost, I mean, from what age? Do you want to go all the way back?
Wherever you'd like to go, wherever you'd like to go.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess like anyone else in their 20s, trying to find your way in the world. I mean, the initial goal, I
Mm,
remember when I was applying to college and pursuing college and then in college, it was get good grades in high school, go to
mm,
college, make sure that, that was the only goal and the purpose. Once I
hmm.
left college, because there were so many naysayers in terms of pursuing your dream, um, I did want to pursue broadcasting and film in college, but everyone said, no, it's too competitive, don't do it. So I became a psychology major because,
You had the seed of it in college, but you kind of went off track just based on what people were saying.
yeah, I definitely sadly listened to some naysayers. I'm like, all right, I want to do something safe. And I really, really, oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I loved psychology. I loved exploring how people reacted in
Yeah.
different events, historical events, things that happened in their own lives. And I was very intrigued by the human psyche and in terms of why people do what they do. And
Mm,
that's why I focused on psychology. I was going to be a psychologist years ago and then kind of switched gears for a while. Became a mom, got married, became a mom, and then when I had to go back to work, I pursued it when I was 30 years old. Like I'm going to go back.
Psychology at start. You're starting at 30, essentially.
Mhm, mhm.
Wow.
Well, I started in broadcasting at 30.
You started in broadcasting at 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So did you actually get into psychology itself from a practice standpoint?
No, I actually didn't.
You
Yes.
didn't. Okay. So
So yeah.
you ended up spending time more raising a family.
Yes, in my mid to late 20s, I did.
Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
So when did you start in radio and TV? So what happens at age 30 once you kind of get some space to be able to pursue a passion?
Hmm. So we were at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
our one of our first duty stations, and I had two little kids. I think they were like 2 and 4 at the time,
Hmm.
and I really wanted to go back to work, but I wanted to be with my kids. And I said, well, when I go back to work and, start to earn an income again, I want to pursue broadcasting. So, yeah, so I definitely had some odd jobs here and there. And then I volunteered at National Public Radio in North Carolina at Fayetteville State University.
That's how you got in.
Yes, yes.
I'm curious if you felt the push to get back to psychology or get back to maybe what society was saying? Look, this is a more normal path. You'll make more money, probably, all those kinds of things. Was there a pull to it?
There was, and I did look for, positions at, organizations that, required a psychology major, maybe, organizations that helped the community in some way. I always had a heart to help the community, women, children. I actually had an internship in college. Oh gosh, I can't believe I remember this.
Hmm.
I went to Boston College, and then in the summer I had some interns here and there, but it was for the Massachusetts organization against children abuse or something like that. I forgot the
Okay.
name of it,
Okay.
but it was kind of, getting into that, that space. So I really enjoyed it. I worked with social workers, I worked with psychologists, but they were basically helping people and rescue people from abuse, basically.
Oh, I got you. Is
Hmm.
that the point? Or so, okay, so how long you started in TV and radio, you volunteered at NPR. How
Hmm.
long did you stay? I don't know if it was radio too, but how long did you stay there kind of in that space? And when did you realize you wanted to tell deeper human stories, not just maybe you were just telling the news, I don't know, but when did you realize you wanted to tell deeper human stories?
Hmm. Well, it definitely coincided with our, next adventure after Fort Bragg at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. So it was the
Okay.
beginning of 2003 when I was trained in the newsroom at Sago Communications in Clarksville, Tennessee, to take over, just for a couple of weeks. And I had to report on the beginning of the war in Iraq in 2003.
Oh man.
So
Okay.
it was so stressful. Not
Mm.
only did everyone leave, and all the spouses were, very anxious, and within my circle, and on post and in the community, I had the pressure of literally learning, in real time how to
Yep.
report.
Yep.
And the news director did change, she basically did train me.
Hmm.
But it
Hmm.
was so stressful. I had to wake up at 3 in the morning. I had a babysitter who came over because, my, husband at the time, he was gone. He left, I think he left in February of 2003. And he was,
To deploy.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
He was
Wow.
a combat medic.
Yep.
And it was pretty in a very tense time.
Wow.
So yeah, I had my neighbor actually who was very, we were close, and she
Mm.
watched the kids when I went to work from 2:30 a.m. and then I got home at maybe 10 or 11 a.m. And that entire time was, it was a crazy time.
I bet it was a crazy time. Were you still feeling, let's say, the passion of wanting to be in the media space? Did it shift into, because people will pursue their passions, things might get a bit difficult. In
Yeah.
this case, psychologically, emotionally, physiologically difficult. I deployed a couple times, so I know the impact of it on my family.
Yeah.
Did it still feel like passion work, or did it shift into I just got to get stuff done?
Hmm. Well, there was a period of time where, I definitely felt that pressure. And, but then once things kind of got a little less tense, maybe around May of 2003, I
Mm.
was able to interview some key people in the community. I interviewed the mayor of Clarksville. I interviewed very
Right
briefly
on.
Marsha Blackburn at the time, Senator Marsha Blackburn, and she was there supporting the military community. So I not only, wanted to interview her, but mostly I really enjoyed her interaction and the fact that she supported so much. And I'm like, I'm part of a military family. Thank you so much for being here. So beyond that, yeah, beyond that period, I definitely realized I wanted to tell stories in a longer form. I just didn't know
Yeah.
the exact focus, but I knew that I wanted to contribute in a significant way, especially to the military community.
Yeah, you were part of it. So I know you do a lot of your work happens to be in the military community, telling stories. I retired from the military in 2019, as you know, and was there for 22 years. A lot of times when you're talking to military veterans or families,
Yeah.
it's a lot of trauma. Unfortunately, there's a lot of happy stuff too. Like when you interviewed me for the documentary, most of it was happy tears. I remember it. But I want to get into a little bit of practical stuff. Like when you are telling stories like that and speaking to a service member or a service member's family, how do you make sure? you're not pushing someone too far when they're trying to tell a difficult story. Or maybe your intent is to push them. I don't know, but I sense that there is a heavy balance there of storyteller, but you're a human and you realize what people have been through as well.
Yeah, completely. Probably to my detriment. I'm an empath, so
Mm.
I definitely have an ability to kind of read emotions and feelings. We usually preface the interview by saying you don't have to share what you don't want to share.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Definitely feel free to share, what is on your heart, to
Hmm.
share your story. So most of the time, most of the veterans and even family that we've interviewed, they say, "Oh my gosh, I've never told anyone that before. We
Mm.
feel so comfortable with, me and my team, and, David Goodman and I, you met him. Yeah.
Yep. I remember Dave. Yep.
Yes. So he has that ability. He has a very strong ability to connect as well. And also, we both empathize. And as we were going through this film journey, we both admitted it literally came full circle.
Also,
We both said, and the person we're interviewing say that it's so therapeutic. I ended
yeah.
up becoming the psychologist or the therapist. And
Yeah.
and David, yeah, he would say too, is like, oh wow, that really made me think about, this instance in my life, and I can completely relate. And so we're all talking about it. It's very cathartic for everyone.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. As you're saying it, I was reflecting on when you and Dave, well, you really, but Dave was there, interviewed me. So that's 2023. I retired in 2019. You guys were the first people I ever told those stories to. And how much being a federal agent inside the military mattered to me and how much I missed it. And I kind of, for what it's worth,
Hmm.
I left that interview and reflected, and probably a week or two later, I think my military career finally closed.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was closure. Yeah.
It was closure because okay, so the community here knows that I was a federal agent, but because you're in a top secret world, in a classified world, and you never really talk about it. There's no outlet to talk about it. It's only now I'm in my home in Maryland today. I finally put up the three military uniforms that I would typically wear if I was wearing a uniform, because I was plain clothes.
Right.
My kids have just started talking to me about my military career, right? And I'm 7 years away from retiring. But when you did that, I didn't know that I had unresolved thought process about what I had been through.
Wow.
Because you even being a police officer, or let's say somebody who's in a normal corporate career, nonprofit, government, you have all these stories. You have all this emotion that has been built up over time. For me, it was Somalia, Turkey, Syria, European countries, being a diplomat, quietly doing things behind the lines, quietly doing things in front of people. Like, it was very cathartic. I wonder if you get that. You just stated it, but how often do you get that comment from people after you spend time with them on a documentary?
Hmm. Well, I definitely say quite often. I mean, most recently when we were in Texas,
Hmm.
filming an entire team that deployed, 1-5 Cav Black Knight.
Yep. Yep.
It's continues to be very healing for most of the guys and some of the families as well, and because the family members said they didn't even know half of the story or half of the feelings that they expressed in their interviews. And yeah, a lot of the guys say that they're like, I can't believe how healing it is, and
Yeah.
the fact that this it's more than a film, and we're not here to capitalize on a story or someone's pain or combat, and all of the I guess the tragedy, but we are here to help people heal and restore relationships. Even behind the scenes, there were a couple of conflicts, and it'll come out in the film, where they realize that somebody that might not necessarily be in their, I guess, in the forefront of their mind to tell the story.
Hmm.
we made a case and said, no, I believe this person should be in the story. And since then, they've all talked. They haven't talked for 20 years.
Oh, the unit hadn't talked since all
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah, the unit, and
Oh
then this
man.
person that wasn't going to be in the story. So
Yeah,
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 so it is. It's been just life changing, and yeah, and even in the past too, as well. Yeah,
yeah.
they were. Yeah,
But that's what you want as a filmmaker, right? You want those internal threads that no one would ever see to come out, assuming that they are comfortable.
yes, yes.
Well,
It was a bit of a process.
yeah. Well, so how far do you go? Like, is this may sound wrong, but or harsh, but just bear with me on it. Like, is there a line you don't cross? Do you keep going into the depths of people's story, whether it's military or not? Like, there's all kinds of documentaries out there, right? Because
Right.
people are the best asset on this planet with what we've done and the stories. And but
Yeah.
how far do you go? Even if it would make the film stronger, do you push? Do you push? Do you push?
Um, I do, but in a very comfortable way.
In a
And
comfortable way?
in
Yeah.
a very comfortable way. And I always ask permission. I said, well, I'm going to ask not in this, exact verbiage, but I ask, I'm like, I'm thinking about asking a pretty, delicate question. Is it okay? And then they'll say
Mm,
yes or no. Um, but especially when it comes to when they lost somebody,
yeah.
downrange, for
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
there's military sexual trauma,
Yeah.
or some really, really tense and delicate issues. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
and sometimes, I mean, I can't read everyone. So, sometimes, I'm human. I definitely get intimidated by the person I'm interviewing sometimes.
Especially with what they may have done in their career and all that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, I sat down with General Petraeus, David Petraeus,
I
and
know.
I
Yeah.
was so nervous the week and the day before, and it ended up being pretty amazing. I mean, he was obviously a great communicator, and I just asked just a few questions, and it just flowed. And he was very down to earth, very welcoming, and I did ask him a mental health question as well.
You
So,
did. That's
mhm,
awesome. That's awesome.
yes,
Yeah,
mhm.
I don't think I'll move on from the military thing for a second in a second, but I do want to say something for folks who are listening. The general public doesn't understand what it is like to serve in the military, whether it's 2 years, 4 years, or 24 years. There's a Wow, there is a stream of consciousness and emotion that comes with being a man or a woman of service that really, from my perspective, doesn't exist in any other career field. And I'll close that out for the people who are listening by saying, I said I retired in 2019. I feel like it was October 19th, but on October 19th, 2019, I was sitting in my car and at 5 p.m., I just started crying. I can still feel the tears coming
Wow.
because I knew that at 5 p.m. that day I was officially retired, and it killed me. Now, if you fast forward, I have tears in my eyes just because I said that. If you fast forward, I just emptied my last deployment bag. My last deployment was 2016, meaning deployed, forward deployed. I was in East Africa, Somalia, and all that type of stuff. And then I flew over to southern Turkey and northern Syria. I left all the stuff in the bag because I couldn't take it out. I've never taken it out of the bag. And finally, when me and my boys moved into our new house, I created a home gym and I decided to finally take them out, get my uniforms cleaned and pressed, and hang them up on the wall. And Noah, my 12-year-old, was like, Dad, I've never seen these. I was like, I know, I didn't want to look at them. I don't think people realize how difficult it is for military folks to process what they've been through, what we've seen. And that's why what you do is so great, because you give the regular audience, the world, a vantage point to see what happens behind everything.
Yes, yeah, completely. And I think that, I mean, I say this a lot. I'm going to do this until my dying day, until the general population knows exactly. Well, it's hard to know exactly, but to
Yeah.
really, really, really understand because coming back to the Northeast, it was so frustrating because, working different jobs, outside the military community,
Yeah. Yeah.
talking about it, they looked at me like I had three heads, or they say, "Oh, wow, that's horrible," and then they go back on to, change the topic, basically change the, conversation, and you can tell it. They just do not understand.
Yeah. They don't.
They
Yeah.
just don't. I mean, we interviewed someone um, who was literally a partner. He was in the Saddam Hussein army years ago, and then he ended up partnering with us, and he's in resilience too. The Al Qaeda, they basically murdered several members of his family, even as
He's on the Iraqi side. He's from the Iraqi army.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
and I had told this to someone, again, civilian. He had no connection at all to the military community, and he was like,
Mm.
"Oh, that's horrible." And then that was it.
And
It was
they,
yeah,
yeah, they can't process what
they
that.
can't
You know,
process.
immediately, my brain goes to he's military too.
Yeah,
Whether we're on opposite sides or same side or allies, but not really allies, you never really know. But that person is military too and has a family, has emotions, feelings, and has a calling to his own country. I can never um, put somebody down unless it's unethical. But put somebody down for serving the country that they grew up in and what have you. So
yeah, yeah.
I think it's amazing, and I love the fact that you actually ended up merging your film life with your psychology life in a way, which I think is awesome.
Mhm.
So let me pivot real quick. So a lot of people want to chase their passions, Nicole, and try life on in their way. People hear award-winning filmmaker and assume that it's glorious, maybe. But what's the unsexy part of the work? And is it sustainable? Meaning, I know that you have to raise funds from investors and sources and things of that nature. So give us kind of the backside of chasing your passion as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's I guess I could say I have a restless soul when it comes to this work. I definitely do because I feel as though I can go and, get a corporate job and, earn a good salary, but, day in and day out, if it doesn't have a purpose, I feel like if it's not purpose driven, I can't do it. And if I'm not
Mm,
contributing and if I'm not helping others, and this space I've always come back to it because
hmm
I've always felt I can't watch TV. I really can't. I can't sit on the couch and relax because I know I have a lot of work to do when it comes to the film. So, I I will say that
mm.
once you do get established, you obviously have to be consistent and um,
Consistent in terms of putting out product kind of thing.
putting out product and then looking for other stories to tell. And then what I've learned in the past several years, again, really wasn't consistent in terms of gaining more stories to tell and
Mm-hmm.
doing the outreach that you need to do to sustain your livelihood basically.
Mm-hmm.
So but I get very, very passionate about just starting, and that's it. And then there might not be funds. So but I do have a lot of irons in the fire right now. So
Yep.
now that we have a lot of content coming out, slowly, finishing a resilience because there's 5 seasons now. We were just going to produce one
There's
document.
5 seasons.
There's 5 seasons. Yeah.
Oh
So,
wow, I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah. So season one will be 5 episodes just focusing on 1 5 Cav Black Knights and that story when they deployed back in 2006 to 2008. But then in subsequent seasons, there'll be the individual veteran stories and some other nonprofits as well,
Amazing.
including yours. So
Yeah.
I had heard recently that I don't know if you're familiar with Lisa Regina. She is
Mhm.
developing heroic episodes, and she had said that for the past 9 years, she's been filming, and now she's in post production. So now I don't feel so bad.
Ah, because you see, yeah, someone
Right.
else who's had, but clearly, if you're doing something for 9 years, that's a passion.
Yeah, definitely. So, But yeah, that said, for this year, next year, definitely have significant, projects down the pike. Some of them may have funding, some of them may have investors. So
Yeah.
goal is to tell those stories, consistently
Yeah.
and make sure they're funded.
But
But
let me ask you a question. Is it enough? And then we'll start to wrap up. But is it enough? Meaning,
Mhm,
um, I know that sometimes raising funds for these things can take a little time.
mhm,
Sometimes it comes quick, sometimes it doesn't. Do you have to go uh, get a standard job per se? How do you still pay the bills if things are slow at a particular time? Like, there's a real life angle to sometimes to pursuing your passion. Folks listening to the podcast know I got very lucky in that one person at my corporate firm said, "Hey, psst, go be a police officer. You don't have to leave your job." So I never struggled for money per se. But
mhm,
do you have to sometimes step out and kind of go into standard employment to make everything work, or can you make the passion work as is?
mhm. I would definitely say, I do have a couple of streams of income
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
Now, this project, season one, has sustained me for the past several months. But
Amazing.
I still, have a couple of other streams of income. And so, yes, I mean, I remember when I went to all those film festivals,
Mm,
2019, and
mm.
I actually quit my job. I had a full-time job. I had quit my job to finish at the time I was married. And then I said, all right, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to go back to work after that. Most of the filmmakers were professionals in other industries. There
They
was,
were.
yes,
Mm.
there was, one was a psychologist, one, was in corporate, but they were developing all these great, or they were producing, or they were just part of the film. They were producing these really great films that were screened at some really, really cool film festivals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that goes to the premise that there was a try-life on principle and versus or. I don't know, somewhere along the line in school we're taught we have to be one thing. We
Right.
can use the word and, we can be in corporate and do a film.
Hmm.
So you're a great example of that. We do live in a society and a world that kind of measures success by salaries and titles, from my perspective.
Right.
You chose something quieter, actually maybe louder in terms of telling issues to the world, but quieter from a societal standpoint. How does that feel lonely sometimes where the herd seems to be going right and you've chosen something that you're going to kind of go your own path?
I will say yes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, producing and editing, post production, it can be very isolating.
Yeah.
And I've chosen to work with an editor. One of my editors actually in Atlanta is amazing, talented, and
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
I play a big part in that, in developing that story, and then here for the Military Basketball Association, I really, really wanted a partner to edit with, but yes, it could definitely everyone's going out Friday, Saturday night, Sunday. I'm editing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, I have work to do. And however, I will drop everything for my granddaughter.
Well, that's a whole different story. But that's a good segue to kind of the final question, which is,
Yeah.
again, there are folks who want to follow their passion, Nicole, who are afraid to jump, who are afraid of exactly what you said. I will be sitting here on my own on a Friday night. I felt like that, by the way, and early in my journey with real estate and being a police officer and stuff. You were always by yourself. So what do you say to those people, given your experience and given your success in creating projects, pursuing your passion? What do you say to the man, to the woman, to the mom, to the dad, the young guy, the old guy, who wants to follow a passion but are just nervous? How can they try life on?
Mm. Passion goes along with purpose, and there's definitely a way. There is. I think that I'm still trying to navigate a good balance, but I don't think if you really, really want to pursue something that is going to make you just come alive and
Mm,
help not even feed your own, spirit and your own purpose, but at the end of the day, it's really about serving others and helping others improve their lives. That's how my heart has always been that way. Growing up on Long Island in New York, everyone's materialistic and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to help people. So, but I think to find that balance, to find the balance, and sometimes things fall by the wayside. And
Mm,
I love my family, and I was dedicated to my former husband for over almost 30 years, and we're still friends.
hmm hmm
But
hmm
sometimes it makes me emotional too. This
Yeah.
might have destroyed what we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is sacrifice in all of it. There is sacrifice, and people need to recognize that if you're going to pursue a passion, there's going to be gives and takes. Sometimes family is going to suffer for it as well, aka my deployments. I didn't know my son Noah the first 4 years of his life. I was gone the entire time.
Yeah.
We've kind of caught up in what have you, but for anyone listening, it there is real sacrifice that comes with it. But what I did hear you say is have a why, have a purpose for it. And because without that, we're not going to be driven to get up every day and keep doing what it is that we do at all, right? A paycheck, I think a paycheck is good.
Yeah.
I think it would only go so far
Right.
because it's just a piece of paper in the end. It's a form of energy. And once you expend it, it's gone. And so you have to have a purpose. You certainly have a purpose, clearly. I can see your emotion behind it. I love what you do. And I wanted to bring you on the podcast because you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
You are giving people a backseat pass to folks' lives, especially in the military, but other places as well. And I have a lot of respect for that. I appreciate that you included me in your Project Resilience, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm grateful you came on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I do have one other piece of information I was going to share, and I
You can
forgot.
share whatever you like, of course.
Okay, maybe you can
Yeah.
edit it out, edit it in.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Um, so I think grant funding is really, really key in terms of, these film projects. So
Okay.
I only applied to a couple and way in the beginning. Didn't, I wasn't awarded them, but there is a great company now that's working for us specifically for the Military Basketball Association,
Okay.
helping tell those stories. So, and they just require commission. It's not a fee. So they basically, submit the grants, and it's $100,000 grant. So,
Wow. Can you say the name of the firm? So is this something you can donate to or?
oh shoot, I forgot the name, but I can always send it to you.
That's all right. Send it to me. I'll put it in the notes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, in terms of the 1-5 Cav Foundation, they have a really great network. They raised a significant amount
That's awesome. That's awesome.
within their own network. And so, yeah, they just need a little bit more for the last couple of episodes. So, yeah, when you talk to them, yeah, it's the 1-5 Cav Foundation.
I can't wait to talk with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1-5 Cav Foundation, blackknightfoundation.org.
BlackKnightFoundation.org. Okay. Hey, and one more thing, since you brought it up,
Mhm.
many folks may not realize that there is an MBA, Military Basketball Association. Can you just explain that real quick and what you're doing with them, just so folks know it's out there?
Oh, sure, sure. So it is such a phenomenal organization. No one really realized that you could
I didn't,
play
for sure.
basketball
Yeah.
while serving active duty. And there's veterans, a lot of veteran coaches. So basically, they help with. Let me rephrase this.
Mm,
They basically help active duty military and veterans live life through basketball. And they
mm,
create this amazing community. It's a professional tournament, professional league, and they're all over the country. There's 50 teams, 1,000 people that are involved, with families as well, including families that they impact. And they haven't had one suicide, one,
wow.
and it
Wow.
really helps with their mental health and wellness. And there's some amazing sponsors that really believe in the organization, and they're looking to expand, even to the Middle East. So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Really?
Yes, yeah, stay tuned. Yeah.
That's amazing. I would have never, if I hadn't run to you, I wouldn't have known that that's there.
Yeah.
But look, this goes to who you are as a person. Here you are, and this is exactly why I wanted to bring you on. So I'm glad you had me pause.
Mhm.
One, you're helping people through telling stories that would never be understood and just be lost in time. That's the first thing, and you're helping those, let's say, units heal. Two, you are helping an individual like me as a person understand that what I did matters in some capacity. But even I think intrinsically, a veteran will know that he or she did matters, but we don't always get to speak about it.
Yeah.
So that helped me with my closure. And then here you are in another capacity helping the Military Basketball Association do what they do, which is impacting those players, those families, and by extension, the world, because now we have better warfighters. You are doing your mission and then some. And it all came from your original passion of wanting to tell stories and help people. And you are trying life on your own way. And that's why I brought you on the podcast.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here and talk with you. Thank you so much. I
It was
really
my pleasure.
appreciate it. Yep.
Yep, my pleasure. See you soon.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is Maurice, host of the Try Life On podcast, and thank you for listening to another episode. I hope you are finding it useful and helping you design your own lifestyle that you don't need a vacation from. If that's the case, please consider dropping a review for me, whether in Apple, iTunes, or in Spotify. Drop a review, put some stars on it. Give me some feedback on how I can make the podcast better, what information you are looking for. I am doing my best to get information to you on the Try Life On principles, the 5 freedoms, how to build lifestyle, travel hacking, all of it. And I want to do it for you. So please do a review for me. Until next time, my name is Maurice Philogene, and this is the Try Life On podcast. Peace.